So I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine you have just sat down at this highly anticipated, phenomenally expensive new restaurant.
Oh, I know the type.
Right. Like the Instagram aesthetic leading up to this exact moment was just flawless.
Yeah, perfection.
Exactly. And the website where you made the reservation was seamless, bathed in perfect typography. You get there, and the interior lighting is moody. It's immaculate.
Sets the whole mood.
It really does. But then you pick up the fork.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it feels like, I don't know, a piece of tinfoil.
Just super flimsy.
Exactly. It's hollow. It's shockingly light. Maybe the edges are even slightly sharp.
The worst.
It is. And at a fraction of a second, your brain just instantly downgrades the entire meal, and you haven't even taken a bite yet.
Yeah, that's actually, well, we actually have a psychological term for that exact moment.
Wait, really? What is it?
It is called sensation transference.
Sensation transference.
Right. Because the human brain is, it's incredibly lazy in how it categorizes value. We just do not evaluate a product or a service in a vacuum.
Meaning we judge the book by its cover, essentially.
Pretty much. We unconsciously transfer our tactile feelings about the packaging, or the door handle or that cheap fork directly onto the core product itself.
So the food literally tastes worse.
Exactly. If the fork feels cheap, your brain decides the steak tastes cheaper.
Wow. And I mean, that disconnect, right? That chasm between a $1 million digital footprint and a 50-cent physical reality is what we're getting into today.
It's a huge problem for businesses.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that is our mission for this deep dive. We are dissecting this masterclass in how a company positions itself against that specific Feingold disconnect.
It's a really fascinating document we've got today.
Yeah, it's a brief but just incredibly dense piece of corporate messaging. It's from a company called Low Tech Sales.
Right. Low Tech Sales.
And the document is titled Crafting Lasting Brand Identities. So our goal here is to figure out how a brand actually survives the brutal friction of the physical world.
Which is such a vital exercise right now because, we live in an era where companies are just pouring vast resources into digital omnipresence.
Oh, totally. Everything is an app or a digital campaign.
Yeah, but as a consumer or even as a business owner yourself, you eventually have to deal with gravity.
Gravity always wins.
It does. You have to deal with weather and physical space and the actual tactile sensations of your customers. And this text from Low Tech Sales addresses that reality head on.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's jump into the deep end of their positioning strategy. Because the very first claim they make is jarringly specific.
Oh, the utensil part.
Yes. The text literally states, and I'm quoting here,
Yeah.
at Low Tech Sales, we go far beyond branded serving utensils.
It's quite the opener.
It really is.
Yeah.
They go on to say they provide comprehensive brand identity solutions designed to elevate your business from the ground up. And I read that and immediately felt a sense of cognitive whiplash.
How so?
Well, I mean, they're promising comprehensive brand identity, which sounds incredibly lofty, right?
Yeah.
But they anchor it to branded serving utensils.
Yeah, the contrast is stark.
It is. It's like saying an architect goes far beyond choosing the doorknobs. Why start the pitch in the kitchen drawer?
Because they are hacking your spatial awareness.
Okay, explain that.
Well, think about the landscape we're in. It's saturated with these abstract buzzwords, omnichannel, synergistic, cloud-based.
Right, the corporate jargon.
Exactly. And the human brain just glazes over when it hears that. Those words have zero physical weight.
That's true. I don't even know what synergistic means in the real world.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
So by forcing you to think about a serving utensil, they are yanking your brain out of the digital ether. They are slamming it right onto a physical countertop.
They are establishing the absolute minimum baseline of physical reality.
Precisely. It tells the reader that they are operating in a world where things have mass, and texture.
It's an anchoring technique.
It is. They are drawing a line in the sand. But there is actually a secondary psychological play happening here, too.
With the name.
Yes, with the juxtaposition of their own name, Low Tech Sales.
I'm so glad you brought the name up because I really have a massive problem with it.
Really? You don't like it?
Not at all. Calling a modern branding agency Low Tech Sales in 2026 feels like a terrible, unforced error to me.
It's definitely a choice.
I mean, we are surrounded by artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, automated marketing flows. To plant your flag in the ground and say, hey, we are low tech, feels like admitting you are already obsolete.
You think it sounds dated?
Yeah, it sounds like they are selling pagers or fax machines, not comprehensive brand identity.
Well, I would actually argue it is a brilliant piece of counterpositioning.
Really? Tell me why.
Think about the fatigue modern business owners feel right now. There's this constant, exhausting pressure to adopt the newest bleeding-edge software.
Sure, there's always a new platform to learn.
Right. And ultimately, it just creates more headaches and integration issues. High tech has basically become synonymous with high friction and fragile.
Oh, that's a good point. High tech means it's going to break.
Exactly. So by deliberately labeling themselves low tech, they are signaling durability. They are promising a return to fundamentals.
Because you can't hack a physical wall.
No, you cannot. A beautifully crafted wooden counter does not need a software update to function.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so the name acts as a filter.
Yes, a very strong one.
They are actively repelling the client who wants like a viral AR filter, and they're attracting the client who wants a physical environment that doesn't feel cheap when you touch it.
That's exactly it. They are framing the serving utensil, this ancient, perfectly designed low-tech tool, as the philosophical foundation of their entire business model.
Right.
They handle the smallest, most tactile objects, but then the text immediately pivots to say they go far beyond that. They use the utensil as the entry point to discuss the entire physical ecosystem.
Which brings us to the actual scope of what they are selling. Because if you are going beyond the objects a customer holds in their hands, you really have to talk about the space itself.
The macro environment.
Yeah. The text moves directly from the utensil to this statement. They say, our goal is to transform your company into a one-of-a-kind experience that leaves a lasting impression on every customer who walks through your doors.
What's fascinating here is that the phrasing is deeply rooted in environmental psychology.
Well, the way I see it, they are recognizing that physical space is the ultimate user experience constraint.
How do you mean?
Think about the digital world. A customer scrolling a website is essentially in control of their own environment.
Right, they're at home.
Exactly. They are on their couch, they're in their pajamas, drinking their own coffee.
Yeah.
The brand only controls the pixels on a 6-inch screen.
That's a very small amount of real estate.
It is. But the phrase walks through your doors implies a total transfer of power.
Oh, absolutely.
The moment a customer crosses that physical threshold, the brand is suddenly responsible for everything. The temperature, the acoustics, the lighting, the smell.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that concept of the threshold is actually critical in architecture.
The doorway itself.
Yeah, it is a liminal space. A doorway is a psychological boundary between a chaotic, unpredictable outside world and the curated, controlled universe of your brand.
That's a powerful image.
It is. And when the text talks about a lasting impression, they are tapping into how the human hippocampus works.
We are spatial creatures, right?
Exactly. We map our memories to physical environments much more strongly than we map them to two-dimensional screens.
So if I have a terrible experience navigating a clunky website, I might just close the tab and forget about it 5 minutes later.
Most likely, yes.
But if I walk through a door and the environment feels oppressive or cheap or confusing, that memory physically anchors itself in my brain differently.
Yes, a physical failure causes a much deeper cognitive dissonance.
Because it's tangible.
Right. If your branding promises luxury, but the door handle is loose, or the acoustics make the room sound like a high school cafeteria, the illusion just shatters.
The brand ceases to exist in the customer's mind.
Exactly. The text from low-tech sales subtly shifts the definition of what a brand even is. They are arguing that the brand is not a logo. The brand is the literal architectural environment the customer steps into.
Okay, but that raises the stakes incredibly high for the physical execution.
It really does.
If the environment is the brand, then the actual construction of that environment is marketing. And this leads to a part of the text that I frankly found almost jarring for this industry.
The focus on the installers.
Yeah, normally a creative agency brochure is basically a shrine to the creative directors.
Oh, totally. Lots of headshots.
Exactly. They showcase their strategists, their conceptual artists, their visionaries with the sleek haircuts. But low-tech sales completely ignores all of that.
They focus entirely on the mechanics.
Here's where it gets really interesting. They center the manual labor. The text says, with an exceptional attention to detail, our expert installers go the extra mile on every project, delivering unmatched value, quality, and craftsmanship.
It's very practical language.
It is, but I read this and my first instinct was that they are passing the buck.
Passing the buck.
Yeah. By focusing on the installers, it almost feels like they are saying, hey, we aren't the geniuses who come up with the ideas. We are just the construction crew.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Isn't it risky for a brand identity firm to lean so heavily on blue-collar execution rather than high-level conceptual thinking?
It is definitely unconventional, but it addresses the exact vulnerability we were just talking about.
The friction of the physical world.
Precisely. Let's compare it to digital again. If you launch a new digital brand identity and there's a typo on the homepage or an image doesn't load, a developer can patch it in 10 minutes.
Yeah, the cost of failure is negligible online.
But physical reality is unforgiving.
Gravity doesn't care about your mood board.
Huh, exactly. Gravity, humidity, daily wear and tear. They don't care. If a visionary creative director designs a stunning custom display shelf, but the installer hangs it slightly crooked,
Oh man, that's the worst.
it's going to sit there for 5 years, silently mocking your brand values every single day.
That is painfully true.
The customer walking through those doors doesn't care about the brilliant concept that lived in a rendering. They only interact with the physical reality right in front of them.
It's the difference between looking at a poster for a movie and physically stepping onto the movie set.
That's a great way to put it.
It's like an architect drawing a beautiful, daring blueprint, but if the structural engineer doesn't do the math to make sure the roof doesn't collapse under heavy snow, it's pointless.
The vision is totally useless if the physics fail.
Right.
The text is actually arguing a very specific philosophy here. They're saying execution is identity.
Execution is identity.
Yeah. By highlighting expert installers, craftsmanship, and attention to detail, low-tech sales is telling the client that the true author of a brand is the person who applies the vinyl wrap without bubbles.
Or the person who levels the custom signage.
Exactly, because if the physical construction sags or peels, the customer's lasting impression is that the business itself is careless and cheap.
Execution is identity. I really love that framing. It strips away all the pretension of marketing and replaces it with tangible accountability.
It grounds it.
It does. And it actually makes the name low-tech make total sense now. Craftsmanship, a human being making sure a physical object is perfectly placed, that cannot be automated by an algorithm.
No, it can't.
It is the ultimate high-value, low-tech skill.
And it sets up a very delicate power dynamic when they finally move toward the call to action and explain how they actually work with a business.
Right. They present a dual path. The text states, whether you're refreshing your brand or building something entirely new, we're here to help bring your vision to life.
The two paths of a physical space.
Yeah, so they acknowledge the two stages of physical entropy. The refresh, which implies your physical space, has depreciated in aesthetic value and just looks tired.
Right. It needs an update.
Or the total rebuild from scratch. But here is where my skepticism kicks back in again.
Oh, yeah.
Bring your vision to life.
Yeah.
That sounds like a massive cop-out to me.
How so?
So, what does this all mean for the client? If I am a business owner hiring a comprehensive brand identity agency, I am likely doing it because my vision is flawed or incomplete.
You need their help.
Exactly. I need their expertise. If they are just acting as a vessel to build whatever I tell them to build, aren't they abdicating their strategic responsibility?
I can see why you'd think that.
It sounds like they're saying, you come up with a brilliant idea and our installers will just hammer the nails.
This raises an important question, though, because I see why you read it that way, but I actually think it is a highly calibrated piece of diplomacy.
Diplomacy.
Yeah. Think about the ego involved in building a physical business. The client has likely poured their life savings, their sweat, their personal identity into this company.
That's true. It's their baby.
Right. And if an agency comes in and says, we are going to overwrite your vision with our proprietary award-winning genius, the client gets defensive.
The agency becomes an invading force.
Yes. So the phrase, your vision, is really about disarmament.
Oh, I see. It's letting them keep ownership.
It is telling the business owner, you hold the soul of this company. You understand your customer. Your creative spark is safe with us.
But notice how they immediately surround the client's vision with their own heavy machinery?
Exactly.
The client provides the vision, but low-tech sales provides the comprehensive solutions, the expert installers, and the physical translation.
They act as the translator between a good idea and a hostile physical environment.
An unexecuted vision is basically invisible.
It really is. It doesn't matter how great a business owner's idea for a restaurant or a retail store is if it just lives in their head. It leaves no lasting impression.
It has to be built.
Right. Low-tech sales is promising to take that fragile conceptual vision, hand it to their craftsmen, and ensure it survives the transition into reality.
Which culminates in the final promise of the text. They say, contact low-tech sales today and discover how we can help your business stand out.
Standing out physically is tough.
Standing out in a physical landscape is so much harder than standing out online. Online, you can literally just buy better ad placement.
Just pay the algorithm.
Yep. But in the real world, standing out requires an undeniable physical presence. It is just remarkable how much strategic positioning is layered into what looks like a standard promotional paragraph.
It really proves that in highly competitive B2B marketing, the language used is never accidental.
Every word counts.
They have managed to weaponize the physical limitations of the real world and turn them into their core value proposition.
Okay, let's synthesize the journey this document just took us on,
Yeah.
because it really challenges the modern default of digital-first thinking.
It completely flips it.
It forces us to confront the fact that a brand's integrity is constantly tested by physical friction.
The gravity we mentioned.
Exactly. The strategy starts by anchoring the listener to the most basic tactile reality possible, a serving utensil.
It leverages the concept of sensation transference.
Right, reminding us that heavy, well-made objects convey quality long before a product is even consumed,
And from there, it expands into environmental psychology.
highlighting the massive psychological shift that occurs when a customer crosses a physical threshold and enters a space completely controlled by the brand.
The liminal space of the doorway.
Yes. And crucially, it redefines who the most important people in the branding process actually are.
This is my favorite part.
It pivots away from the conceptual designers and places the burden of identity squarely on the shoulders of the expert installers.
It argues that craftsmanship and physical durability are the ultimate arbiters of a brand's value.
Execution is identity. And finally, it positions the agency not as an ego-driven dictator of taste, but as the essential structural engineer for the client's vision.
Ensuring that the transition from imagination to physical reality is flawless.
So what's the big takeaway for you, the listener, today?
Well, the practical application for you listening to this is to fundamentally change how you audit the physical spaces you interact with today.
Keep an eye on the details.
Yeah. When you walk into an office, a boutique, or a cafe, try to isolate the tactile details from the overarching aesthetic.
Look past the mood lighting.
Exactly. Does the chair feel sturdy? Does the ambient noise feel managed? Or is it chaotic? Are the edges of the physical installation fraying?
Right. Notice the craftsmanship.
Because that is where the true financial investment of the brand is revealed. You will quickly see which companies treat their physical space as an afterthought and which ones treat it as their core identity.
That is the perfect lens to take out into the world today. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final, slightly unnerving thought to chew on.
Unnerving. Okay.
Well, we spent this entire session validating the idea that a brand's power peaks when a customer is physically immersed in their environment.
True.
The text relies heavily on the lasting impression made when someone walks through your doors.
The brand is the room.
The brand is the room. But here's the problem with rooms. People leave them.
Ah, I see where you're going.
In the digital world, a brand follows you home in your pocket. The app is always on your screen. The targeted ads follow you across the internet.
The digital brand has a terrifying level of persistence.
It really does. But if a physical brand relies on the weight of the serving utensil, the lighting, and the flawless craftsmanship of the expert installer, what happens the exact second you walk back out those doors?
That is a great question.
Does the physical impression truly last in your neurological mapping? Is it strong enough to draw you back weeks later?
Or does it fade?
Right. Does a purely environmental brand suffer from object permanence? Does a low-tech brand effectively cease to exist the moment you are no longer standing inside its carefully constructed walls?
It makes you wonder.
So think about the physical businesses you visited last week. How much of their crafted reality actually followed you home?